Hi guys, and welcome back to my channel, and if you're new here then please go ahead and subscribe so you don't miss any of my new videos, and also hit the little notification bell, that way you can be notified when I post a new one. Since Easter is almost here, I figured I would do a video about something to do with Easter. And today I'm going to show you how to make your own screen printed tea towels, and they're really easy to make, and I have two ways I'm going to show you how to get the little bunny rabbit design on there. And you can use these for t-shirts, bags, just pretty much any kind of material that is like got a tight knit on it. And my tea towels happen to be kind of wrinkly a bit. I've tried to iron them, I washed them, dried them, and this is just the type of material that they are. And this little bunny image I made, so if you would like to download this image, I'll have it linked down below so you can go download it from my blog. So if you want to see how I made them, then continue watching. So you're going to need a few supplies for this project. First, you're going to need a stencil, and this is the bunny that I used. You can find this on my website, and I will have it linked down below in the description box. You're going to need some tea towels, and I picked these up from Hobby Lobby. Next, you're going to need some Mod Podge, and also you're going to need some fabric paint, and this one is by Magenta, and I got this from Hobby Lobby. You're going to need some small tipped paintbrushes, and you're going to need a pencil and also an embroidery hoop, and this size is 8 inches. You're going to need some material, and this is a polyester material, and it needs to be large enough to where it's going to cover your embroidery hoop. So now I'm going to unscrew my embroidery hoop, and I'm going to take out the inner wooden ring, and then I'm going to place my fabric on top of that, and then I'm going to stick that wooden inner ring back on top, and then I'm going to screw it back tight, and I'm going to pull on my fabric just to make sure that it is taut in there. Next, I'm going to take my embroidery hoop and fabric and place it over my image and trace out my bunny rabbit. Now that my bunny is traced out onto my material here, I'm going to go ahead and take some wooden sticks, and I'm going to place my embroidery hoop on top of that. Then I'm going to take my Mod Podge and start painting it around my bunny rabbit image onto my material. And I'm making sure that I'm not getting any of the Mod Podge on the inside of my bunny rabbit, because anywhere that there is Mod Podge, your paint will not go through. And so here I am going ahead and filling in the rest of my material. Now the Mod Podge does need to dry, and then I'm going to take some painter's tape and I'm going to put it around the sections just to make sure that no paint will go through around it and get onto my material. So now I'm going to do a test print just to see how my screen print is going to print, and I'm going to place it on a piece of paper. And then I'm going to take my fabric paint and I'm going to go ahead and put a line of paint at the top of my embroidery hoop. And then I'm going to take my squeegee and I am going to squeegee the ink down over my screen. And while I'm doing this, I'm making sure that I am pushing down, but I am not moving my hoop, because if I move my hoop, then the ink can go in a place that I don't want it to go. And once I am satisfied that I think that I have a full coverage on it, I'm going to carefully lift up my embroidery hoop screen, and I'm going to hold the piece of paper down and then lift it up. And there's my bunny rabbit. So I'm happy with that, so I'm going to move over to my actual tea towel, and I'm going to place a piece of cardboard in between the layers. That way the ink will not go onto the layers below, and it will just stay on the top layer. So now I'm going to take my embroidery hoop screen and I'm going to lay it down on top of my tea towel, and then I'm going to repeat the same process by taking my fabric paint and making a little line of it at the top of my embroidery hoop, and then I'm going to take my squeegee and go ahead and squeegee that paint right down over my bunny rabbit, and I am putting pressure on it, and I'm making sure that I am not moving that embroidery hoop, because I do not want that paint to go anywhere else except for where that bunny rabbit is. And I am making sure that I am getting that paint in there because I want it to take completely, because this is a bit more porous than paper is. And so once I'm happy with it, I'm going to go ahead and make sure to hold my towel down and lift up my screen print very carefully. And there is my bunny rabbit on my tea towel. And now I need to let this dry for 24 hours before I heat set it with my iron. And this screen print is reusable, so just go ahead and wash that paint off of it before it dries. Okay, so now moving on to the second way. I'm going to use an embroidery hoop the same size, and also I'm going to use the same type of material, but I do have a vinyl stencil that I'm going to use. And this one will be handy for those that have a craft cutter. So this step is going to be the same as the very first one, where I put my fabric inside my embroidery hoops and I go ahead and I tighten that up. And I make sure that my material is taut in my hoop. Okay, so now I'm going to take my vinyl and I'm going to reverse weed it and just leave the negative of my bunny image, including the tail. Now I'm going to take some transfer tape and put it on top of my vinyl stencil, and then I'm going to go ahead and pull that backing off. And now I'm going to place that vinyl on top of my embroidery hoop and go ahead and use my squeegee, make sure it's on there, and then pull the transfer paper off. And if you're having some issues like I am here, just go ahead and do it very slowly and go ahead, stick it back down. And I turned it upside down and I used my squeegee on the inside just to make sure that it was sticking. And now I'm going to use my painter's tape and mask off any of the open areas so my paint doesn't get through those areas. Okay, and so now is the fun part. My stencil is all ready, and I'm going to place my paper in between my layers of my tea towel here. And the rest of the procedure is going to be exactly like the first way. I'm going to put my paint on my embroidery hoop there and go ahead and squeegee that down, making sure that I am getting that ink on that towel and making sure that I am not moving that embroidery hoop because I do not want my print to mess up. And once that I think I have enough on there, enough passes, I'm going to go ahead and lift that up, and there is my bunny rabbit tea towel. And this one turned out just as cute. And I'm going to make sure that I go ahead and wash this paint off of my screen, that way I can use this again. So the instructions for my fabric paint said I needed to let them dry for 24 hours, and they have. And now I'm going to place a piece of parchment paper on top of it, and then I'm going to iron my bunny rabbit for 1 minute. And then I'm going to flip my fabric over and place the parchment paper on top of that, and then iron the back side for another minute. And here are the finished tea towels. They turned out so cute. Leave a comment down below letting me know which one you're going to try. And also, thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to subscribe. Bye.